Before I move this up, these will be smart indicators for 2014. Since all of you know...
2014?
Yeah, in 3 years. Probably everyone knows what SMART is: strategic planning, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-bounded. So that's how I define indicators. First, youth demonstrate increased interest for political activism for minimum 20% in comparison to the 2011. We are talking about 2014. And we will check that with survey, with poll. Second one is the number of youth members in political institutions and political parties. Okay, in this case, is increased for minimum 20% in comparison to 2011. Data gathered. So what we have gathered now, we are looking forward to measure in 2014. How many youth are members in political parties? Third one will be minimum 120 out of 141 municipalities in Bosnia and Herzegovina have adopted youth policy, but with defined measures for youth political participation. Current youth policies don't have that. Don't have that type of participation. They have only economical, cultural, and social. Social, thank you. They don't have four. For minimum 1%, I will tell you how I got this number, of the state or / municipal funds for projects, so all funds for projects are directly related to the implementation of youth policy. I wouldn't like to see projects spent on youth. I would like to see funds spent on implementation of youth policy. So good youth policy has good projects in it, with action plans, defined measures, and someone is supporting the implementation of youth policy. The main reason why I'm saying that is that youth are involved in defining youth policy, but they are not involved in implementation. This way they would. And minimum 1% is projection of some kind of, I would say, absolute amount of funds that should be spent. Some kind of. I got this not through policy paper, but through my work that I'm doing at this point. Political parties, minimum 50%, have adopted a strategy for youth involvement in their structures. So it doesn't matter who they are, it doesn't matter how big they are. I would like the half of them, because that would be some scale where we would achieve critical mass of political parties that would adopt some kind of long-term approach, written approach, so-called strategy or policy for involvement of youth in their structures. And the last one would be increase of number of youth who are involved in decision-making process. In other words, minimum 25% of youth are represented in the government. In the sense that I wouldn't have anything against youth being involved in any part of government. Wherever they are in government, they have some kind of decision-making role. Whether they are advisor to the mayor, whether they are someone who is working on a youth policy, whether they are municipal councils, or some kind of NGO that is hired by the municipality to do some work. And in any case, they will have an influence in decision-making process. Maybe I would have more, but for now, this is 6 that I could remember from the current situation.
I have 1.5 questions.
Okay.
Question number 4.
Question number
4. Yeah.
No, you mean this one?
Yeah, not question.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
I would argue that, for example, now in Moldova, over 50% of the state budget is spent on youth policy.
50?
Yeah, well, because it's spent on education. It's a cross-cutting issue.
Yeah. Good one. No, I will argue that.
Also, I can prove that in any municipality they are spending now more than 5%. They can provide the arguments of that.
Okay, yeah, answer.
No, you go on and then I'll come with the second. How?
I I talked to many youth workers, and most of them claim that the funds that are spent for stipend, for education in this case, for self-employment on youth, etc., are not directly related to youth policy. But it's not a problem in spending the funds. The problem is in poorly defined youth policies, where it says youth access to education will be improved. That's strategic goal of youth policy. But there is no project. There are no projects within that strategic goal. So yes, probably around 35% of every budget is spent on something that is related to youth, but indirectly. Indirectly to youth policy. It's not directly implemented. So this would make sense only if the youth policy is developed properly. Properly, like a strategic plan, not just a policy. To have policy elements, but to be detailed, to be defined as a strategic plan with all elements.
Good.
Bojan?
Yeah, that was pretty much my question.
There is another half.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
To interlink on the third issue. I mean, wouldn't it be
Third indicator. No? Okay.
Wouldn't it be more feasible to adopt this youth policy at the national level, and then, because then you have to address 120 municipalities, but if you approve this policy at the national level, then is it more feasible in your country?
Unfortunately, no. We cannot adopt anything at the national level. Basically anything. I'm serious. I mean, Masha knows, I mean, if I go into clarification, you will never last, whatever. Simply, it's impossible. It's impossible.
Can I follow up on that, man? Right? That it strikes me that if you only have 110 municipalities who have adopted this policy, right, you're really harsh on yourself if you think that's a failure, right?
Yeah.
So you're setting the bar really high on this, right?
Why? Because 80 municipalities already have at this moment.
Right.
Okay. Not all of you know that, so I need to do 40
Yeah.
in 3 years.
Okay. But 40 in 3 years, I mean, that's still quite extensive. There's a lot of advocacy. There's a lot of shoe leather, as we Brits would say. A lot of slapping around, kind of trying to talk to municipal figures and local actors and policymakers, decision makers, youth activists.
Yes. I understand your concern, but I think I can manage to achieve.
You're nothing if not ambitious, yeah?
No, yeah, you
Why?
I just wanted to intervene on that on the fourth indicator.
Yep.
Fund for projects. You mean funds for capital investments, right?
No, projects related to implementation of your policy. Each project can be small, can be 1,000 km, can be 100,000 km.
But what do you call a project? Because a project, you can say, I don't know, to increase wages of teachers.
Depends what's defined in youth policy. You know, I cannot anticipate whether it will be a project activity, a program, or a project. But general term used is project. Our policy paper is project.